My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
This show is part of the HeadStuff podcast network.
Lovely stuff.
Yay, lovely, lovely.
Tell you what, though, folks, that's bloody nice. That is bloody lovely.
Lovely hollow. Lovely toys. Lovely hollow. Lovely toys.
Hello and welcome to The Lovely Show.
Hello. You're looking lovely.
You're looking fierce well.
We hope you're feeling lovely.
My name is Kevin McGahern.
I'm Justine Stafford.
How are you, Justine?
I'm all right.
You got a brand new fancy jacket, I see.
I do. I got a jacket from Guinness and I absolutely adore it.
Is this like you drink 50 pints and you get a free jacket?
No, I mean, I'd have a whole wardrobe.
Martin N'Golo must have
A whole
some
wardrobe.
selection of jackets.
Yeah, that's where he gets them all from. That's why he's always wearing a suit. They send him to him. I got this when I was going to Forbidden Fruit. Guinness sent me a lovely jacket and a ticket.
I'm a bit jealous. I want to be famous enough that Guinness especially will send me free stuff.
I could tell when I came in, and it'd be rare that you'd be looking at something that I'd be wearing. It's normally the other way around. So I'm taking this as a victory.
Oh, it's a big compliment.
You know?
Did you see my eyes went, whoa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like cartoon.
My tongue was hanging out. The mask.
At a Guinness jacket. I remember they had other ones when I was there, bomber jackets.
Is this where? Where are you talking about?
It's Forbidden Fruit.
Oh, right.
So there was other like Guinness jackets there. They were like a bomber jacket and they had a big Guinness pint on the back.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was cool, but I actually think I'll get more wear out of this. Because this is like a long denim jacket you can wear in the summer, in the winter.
It's a shacket.
It's pretty cool as well. Like
I don't like the name shacket because it sounds too close to shart.
It's... I think it sounds like the Irish, like putting in the chevu in jacket.
Right. I thought
shacket.
it sounds like a shit jacket, but it's a shirt/jacket.
Yeah. I suppose that is what this is. Yeah.
So this was very much part of your brat girl summer.
My brat girl summer. I realised after I left last week I had a fat girl summer because I have literally gained a stone.
Did you?
And it's not good, Kevin.
Yeah.
It was Edinburgh. Edinburgh ruined me.
Were you pinting much in Edinburgh?
I was having a few pints, yeah.
That sounds like an
killer.
understatement.
Well, yeah, and also I'll tell you something. Edinburgh, see, I'd have Smithwick's or Guinness here, right? Now this is kind of this is a bit, well, I wouldn't call it toxic, but it's probably always in the back of my head. They're lower calories.
Which?
Than Guinness and Smithwick's are lower calorie pints than British lagers.
Right, okay.
So you're nearly doubling your calories on 1 pint of British lager versus...
I mean, first of all, we are not
Smithwick's.
sponsored by Guinness. I know that we've talked about Guinness merchandise and how just low in calories pints of Guinness are. That being said, if Guinness want to jump on board,
That would be a good time.
we'll take a crate every week.
But that genuinely adds up when you're there for a whole month, when you're not having my normal pints, and they'd be the pints I just like anyway. You have to have... I was having... And I like a Blue Moon, but that's a heavy drink.
If you had a choice, let's say Guinness did get in touch with us and they're like, right, we want to sponsor you. Mm-hmm. Would you take €500 each per episode, or
For
would
a
you
jacket.
would you take a keg of Guinness that you have to drink during the show?
Oh, Jesus, the money.
Would you?
Yeah, I mean...
I like the novelty of the keg.
It's hilarious. But I mean, how many do we have to go through? And what scutter is going to come out of us after that many
I think that's
pints?
exciting though. The only thing is sound, you just like every 15 minutes.
Also having an arm wrestle come the end of it. I don't know. You can't really, that doesn't translate on air.
Wrecking the set.
I just think I'd rather have a little pint to sup in away at.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure when there's a keg there to go through.
There is. My friend got a keg one Christmas. And I don't know how big of a keg. Probably wasn't a huge keg. Probably a half keg. But he was like, Christmas time. It's Christmas time, folks.
Yeah.
I'm going to have people over in the house. I'm going to say, hey, do you want a bloody fresh pint of
Don't
Guinness?
spread that word around too far.
And he was thinking like, I'll easily get rid of 50 pints. No
Mm-hmm.
bother. And he said after Christmas, he hadn't got rid of half it.
Jesus.
So one night he just drank as much as he could. This actually isn't a great ad for Guinness, but he said he was expecting a child. He was expecting a child and he got sick in the new child's room before the child arrived, and he was so ashamed because every time like when the child did arrive, he'd be changing the nappy and he'd just looking at a big stain on the ground.
See, now that's the Christmas Guinness ad they need to have. Do you know what I mean? It's always a gorgeous one. Every year you look forward to what they'll do. That's a curveball.
Well, I think for balance, like you know the way like you
stain is a reminder, and he has a little.
In an ad for alcohol, they'll show people having a great time on alcohol, and then they'll just put on drink it responsibly.
Yeah.
But I think that's not really balance. For actual balance, you need to show people having a great time on pints, and then people having a bad time on pints. Just like accidentally liking. Like somebody you went to school with, a bikini photo,
new girlfriend's picture, been there,
like way back in the photos.
Oh yeah,
like Corfu 19. Wait, that's too old.
2019.
Corfu 2019. Yeah.
Oh, been there.
Have you?
It's a horrible place to be. And you know when you have to find out LinkedIn, you have to find out that if you view their page, it tells them. So you have to set it up as private.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Learned that out the hard way too. And I wasn't looking for business recruits. I was looking for.
You're looking for pleasure.
Lovely stuff.
Do you know what? I need to stop trying to take medical issues into my own hands, Kevin. That's my big issue. And I have other issues going on. We all do. I would be someone. I'm trying to get better at being, looking after yourself and self.
Are you talking about mental health?
No, not mental health. But like,
You're talking like an ingrown toenail or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the upkeep of yourself.
Yeah.
You can tell I'm really confident talking about this. So I would be someone who would get body hair.
Okay.
That's the kind of a thing that happens to me. But I decided I'd buy this thing online. It's like a laser hair removal job, right? Now I've gone and got it done in a salon.
Is this Temu? Is this AliExpress? Or is this a
proper... It was a skin. I can't remember the name of the brand. It seemed decent. There were good reviews because I looked at reviews of once and it was like came and it never even turned on. Like you see those ones.
Right.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
This had good reviews.
This one made me grow more hair. Now I look like Chewbacca.
Yeah. But you give it to a bald fella and he sorted. Like,
there you go.
But I got this look and I was like, grand. And like whenever you get it done in the salon, they put on goggles and safety procedure and all that crack. None of that came with this. So I just assumed, sure, you wouldn't need it, would you? Like they'd give it to you if it was necessary.
Yeah.
Legally, surely.
Yeah, you'd think.
You would think.
You'd think. You'd hope. You'd hope.
So I thought, sure, I'll just go straight into it. So I'd get like hairs on my face, like as in your chin and that kind of crack. So I started on the left-hand side and I closed my eyes and I hit it and like I did 3 zaps with the thing, right? And when you get flash, even like when your eyes are closed and you can see a really bright light, that happened. And then I opened my eyes and my left eye was blurry, like fucking bad. And I was like
half blind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, that didn't feel right. And I was thinking, have I just done laser?
Have I
blinded myself? And then I went down, I was paranoid and it was not coming back. And then I was doing like, my own eye exams versus the two.
Yeah.
I was like,
Daddy holding up a newspaper, read the top line, read the bottom line.
I was like, have I just damaged? And I've never had glasses or anything. I was like, have I just ruined something that was good? And the next day it started to get like sore. And I was like, I just sleep
with your
on
face.
The eye.
Oh, the eye, still.
I was like, I just sleep on it. Cure all, I'll be fine. After I dug deep into Google about how, you've destroyed your eyes, I was like, great, I've calmed myself down. And the next day it was still the exact same. So yesterday I went down to Specsavers and this isn't an ad for Specsavers either, but I went in and the optician I had was like a 60-year-old man. Lovely fella from the north, gorgeous accent, but the loveliest fella. And he asked, "What's brought you in today?" And I was like, "Oh, where to start?" And I was like, explain to him. He's like, "Sorry, I don't understand. You have hairs on your face." He didn't understand what a laser hair treatment was. I was like, "Oh God!" I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm a hairy woman. Let's just get it out in the open."
When a girl reaches a certain point in her development,
you wouldn't even need glasses to see them on my face,
right.
For that fella. But anyway, then. He was like, right. So he did scans anyway, and he was like, I think it's all right. Like, he didn't see anything coming up. He was like, your eye is probably just still healing, like from the traumatic kind of thing. But he was like, your eyes were closed, so that's a good start. Because the majority of the time you'll have a welder or someone coming in from before they had.
I was going to say, you could have borrowed
goggles.
your welding helmet or something.
I'd missed the face then, kind of. But
that's true.
He's like, it's probably just still a bit like wounded by it, but I can see no damage. And then he told me, 20/20 vision. Well, I have 15/20 vision, or 2015 vision, which is even better. Apparently, he said your eyesight is unreal.
No way.
Yeah, apart from it being temporarily.
Was this after you said you're a very good looking man? So, well, there's nothing wrong with your eyesight, anyway. Because I wouldn't take that compliment seriously.
That's sincere, yeah. In hindsight, no. But
hindsight's 2020. 2015.
2015, I'd never even heard of that.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, but I need to stop doing that because I went through an awful phase of putting acid on myself. I had like... Yeah, you know what? Now that I say it, maybe I am a crazy ex-girlfriend.
I think you're a lunatic.
Yeah, I had like, what do you call them? Skin tags.
Yeah,
And I was like, I tried to freeze it up.
I'll just get some acid. I'll get the car battery.
I've like two. They're vampire bites here now left from it. But Jesus, it was a bad decision. It was so burnt off.
Mean, would you trust, like, if you went into a specialist and the person was like you performing, and they just had like a jar of hydrochloric acid and a fucking welding pen, would you go to that doctor?
And a prayer. Would I go to that doctor? Absolutely not.
No.
I'm just too embarrassed with these things to go to see someone.
Why? It's 2024, Justine.
I know. I just get so like...
I'd only be embarrassed if the hair grew into a perfect square Hitler moustache. That'd be the only thing I'd be embarrassed.
That would be ideal, yeah.
Yeah. I got a Hitler.
Yeah.
Can you remove it, please? So don't buy experimental medical equipment online. Is what you're saying.
That's really it. And like the acid was like for water movers, but this wasn't water. I was just, I shouldn't be left unsupervised, I think, to look after medical issues.
Go to a fucking therapist. Although when I was a teenager, I was notorious for like just performing little surgeries on myself.
DIY,
Yeah. Cutting off.
It's a very country thing.
Cutting off warts with pen knives.
Well, see, here's the thing. It eventually killed all the skin around it. It froze it then, and then it still hadn't fallen off. They had to get nail clippers and cut it off, and it did not heal well at all. And I decided to do 5 at one time, so I looked I'd been hickied out of it.
You look like if you had, the crown of thorns that Christ wore, if it just sort of slipped down your head and landed on your neck.
Yeah.
Like a sort of...
It had shifted him and he got a load of hickeys on his neck.
Sort of an ancient choker.
Yeah. So that's been my week, really.
Wow. You always have much more interesting weeks than me because I don't have time to be performing surgery on myself. Were you watching the England-Ireland match?
I was in the pub and it was on in the background, but I was catching up with a friend then.
What was the atmosphere like?
A lot of Irish, actually. There's a lot of cowboy hats around because Waller Mullen. Country western singer. That's Morgan Wallen. Morgan Wallen was playing. Don't know who he is.
Both sound like country names.
Morgan Wallen is definitely his name. Yeah. Was performing in the Tree Arena. He's a country western singer.
Right. So a lot of cowboy hats, a lot of spurs jingle jangling.
There was a lot of that. So that was more so the vibe than there were people in Ireland jerseys.
Right. It was annoying. It was an extra annoying that the two lads who scored for England were from Ireland, essentially.
Yeah.
I think that stung more.
Oh, definitely.
I was hoping that they'd do, the bit in Braveheart when the English lads recruit the Irish lads to fight the Scots, and then the Scots run up to them, and then the Irish lads are like, runny messing, we'll fight with you. I was hoping that they'd do that.
That's what I would do.
I'm just going to go back to talk to our goalie, and then just fucking boot it in the net.
That's what you would think. That's what I would do. That's your duty.
Oh my God, can you imagine how much of a legend you would be?
Absolutely.
Infiltrate the English team.
Imagine the amount of kegs Guinness would be sending them.
Oh my God.
I just...
sick with jackets and beer.
Completely. It's kind of like, when an ex moves on, you think, you're not going to do better than me. And then they actually end up, they're with England. A model. They win a model. And that's kind of what it felt like.
My cousin was telling me he remembers the last time Ireland played England in 95 and the absolute chaos of it. They'd put the English fans on the top level. So they were above the Irish fans. And then they lost, or they started getting goals scored against them, and they just lost their minds and started ripping up chairs and fucking them down on the street, on the Irish fans. And then they all ran out onto the pitch, and he said the guards came in And he said, I've never seen guards hammer lads with such joy.
Oh, no.
He said it was like they were just baiting cattle. They were just like hammering. And then all the Irish fans joined in with the guards. And the guards were like, yeah, come on, Neil. These can all be deputies.
Oh.
And he said they bet the English fans onto the ferry. They just bet them straight onto the ferry and just get the fuck out of the country.
Lord.
He said it was just like moving cattle. Just like big ignorant country guards going like, this is literally my fantasy.
Oh, good God. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone to the game.
No.
I would be too afraid for that scenario, not that scenario, but the scenario which actually happened of Ireland losing and you're on
Yeah.
home turf. I'd be taking the jersey off nearly. You
Yeah.
know, it's a rough one.
Just put on an English accent. Hello, mate. Wasn't that a great game? Like a bad English accent.
Worse, I remember I was seeing a lad from England for a while and just it cut steep then. I was thinking of him at the weekend. I was like, this guy.
Did you text him?
No, I didn't.
Started liking his old holiday snaps.
God, no. Dating, it's kind of, I don't know, sometimes I feel a bit like self-harm, dating someone from...
I think he would be annoyed a lot,
Really?
just in conversations with them and stuff.
It'd be more so if they hadn't the cap on to realise the real history of things.
I
Some of them
did.
don't know at all.
I did as well. I remember being in London once and I was having a pint outside the pub. It was like 4 or 5 in the day and I witnessed 2 Irish girls being chatted up by an English lad and it did not go well. And the poor lad, he just didn't realise how Irish women sort of talk. There's a level of piss taking that you have to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, he was putting it on thick and he didn't know they were taking the piss out of him. And he was like, yeah, I mean, I'm working in finance. It's really good. It's starting to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, what's your house like? And he was like, well, I'm living at my mum at the moment, but it's really, you're living at your mum? For fuck's sake, you must be making too much. Are you working for the credit union? And he's like, no, it's really good because, I get to spend a lot of time with my mum. I said, who does your washing for you? And he's like, well, mum, she does the washing. Yeah, mommy does your washing. And he was like, the poor lad was just getting rinsed and he just didn't understand, like, why are you being so mean to me? And I was like, this woman probably loves you. This woman probably wants to marry you. But this is
how we
communicate through abuse and slander.
there's lovely memories of people in the UK. Like I love some of the accents. My God,
Yeah.
Manchester and Liverpool and Yorkshire. I fucking love it.
I always like the Scottish accent.
Oh, stop! Now that's to me. Sorry, that's England versus Scotland is separate to me.
Scotland's quite separate, yeah.
Yeah,
They're like the
in my
cousins.
mind.
The
Yeah,
cousins who
they
visit you
are.
every so often.
They are.
The mad
Scotland's
cousins.
Unbelievable accent.
It's the rolling of the R's.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Lovely stuff.
This show is part of HeadStuff Podcasts. Here's another show you might like.
Sissy That Pod is a podcast all about RuPaul's Drag Race, and we are going to be covering the latest season of RuPaul's Drag Race UK, which will be airing really, really soon. So if you are a RuPaul's Drag Race fan, make sure that you are subscribed ahead of the season, because we'll be leaving no rhinestone unturned in our coverage. We're going to have some sickening guests, and we'll be getting into every nook and cranny of the conversation. That's Sissy That Pod, wherever you get your podcasts, and on HeadStuff Plus.
Trying to plan a stag at the minute for my friend. It's the first time I'm going to be like, I'm going to be the only girl on the stag as well. But they're looking at
A
Liverpool.
lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. I'm a bit afraid. I'll have to book accommodation separate from the lads. There's no way I couldn't. And there's aspects.
You don't want to share a room with a load of lads.
But there's aspects of a stag that I'm kind of like, well, if they're doing that kind of thing, I don't want to be there for that part necessarily.
What are we talking about?
If they decide to get like a stripper or someone in, I'm like,
I don't think people do that anymore.
I hope not.
I don't think that's...
Because I don't want to be there for that.
No. I think that's very 80s, very even 90s. Don't think stags do that anymore.
Because I have zero experience here. I've never been on one. I've never been on a hen either.
Have you not?
No, I was meant to be on one during COVID and then I got cancelled because of COVID. So it's my first experience of anything is going to be a stag,
Wow.
which is quite... Yeah, that makes sense for me.
Are they a bunch of big football-y boys or are they sensitive, artistic types?
Do you know what? The guy who stag is huge into the footy.
Right.
Big Liverpool supporter, but the best man, absolutely no clue about any sport going.
Okay.
So it'll be an interesting mix of what
You're
going
to have to really up the testosterone in your banter. You can't be talking about getting laser on your face.
No.
I think you should grow the beard out. Just to fit in better.
I'll start now and I'll have it done for this time. Class, I'll fit right in. But they're trying to figure out outfits and stuff. The way you were talking about the ones that went for priests, or you wanted to do
that's
that.
the one I want to do for my friends.
Like, am I going to have to get in on this?
Look, it's usually something like Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah,
or,
true.
you know, the Borat swimsuit.
Yeah, I won't be doing that now. I'm going to book separate accommodation. That's first on the list because I'm not staying in. They'll go cheap, I'd say. They'll go like
They'll
in a
go
hostel
dirt
for the
cheap. There'll be
group of
6 of them in one room.
Yeah.
And they will not mind farting in front of each other.
No.
Especially like, you know, when you're waking up at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
There'll just be a cacophony of farts.
I'm not here for that.
It'll be like dueling banjos with farts.
Yeah, but all ahead of us now.
I saw something the other day. Fight Club was on Netflix.
Right.
And then I realised there was a thing in 1999 where there was like 5 films that came out about disgruntled straight white males working in an office job with a nice gaff. And it was like Fight Club, Being John Malkovich, Office Space, American Beauty, and there was one more. Can't remember. I wrote down here.
That was the real in trend.
And The Matrix.
Oh, good Lord.
And all of those films feature like a straight white male who's like living in a nice apartment or a house that they own, and they're working in an office job, and they're just dissatisfied. And they're just like, oh God, life is just so hard. And you cannot watch films like that now because you're like, you fucking moany bastards.
Yeah.
Like, all we want is just like those films set now is just like a lad who just desperately wants a house and a load of nice things.
Yeah. But it's nice to look back at the nostalgia of it of like, God, hadn't we little to be worried about?
Hadn't we little to be worried about?
Well, for some.
We couldn't even afford a bloody bike shed in the Leinster house.
And look at us now. Good Lord.
Yeah, that really
Absolute
annoyed me about
disgrace.
films of 1999.
Really, I like to look back at things that were like cultural or topical then. I remember being the year I was in South Korea for a film festival. Bizarrely, that year, and they talked about it, like, oh yeah, there's a big porn addiction is a really big thing in Korea at the minute.
Right.
And like every second film that we were watching out there was on that topic.
Was on porn addiction.
Porn addiction. It was very specific to Korea at the time that they had an issue with that. Because I remember, I used to make short films, and every year you'd go down and it was like, what was the topical thing that year? There's always like one year was like, every film was about a teenage pregnancy, and then another year it was like, a boy getting bullied. You're like, you see how things like change.
It's a good sort of cultural milestone.
Well, like, I'm not going to get on board with Gen Z's doing films about low-rise jeans, because I'm telling you, Kevin, I wear bloody high-waisted jeans for a reason, okay? I don't have a stomach to be showing off, and especially after Fat Girl Summer, it's not worth looking at, right? So this whole trend of, you know, high-waist jeans are out and low-rise jeans are in, I can't get behind it.
Because I thought mom jeans were back.
Oh, they were, but that's long a time
Mom
ago
jeans are
now.
gone.
They're gone.
That was daughter jeans.
No, it's how I can't get on board with that. No one wants to see me in low-rise jeans. I'm telling you that now. But like even Gen Z now, there was a study recently that said they don't want to see as much sex shown in TVs and movies.
Yeah. That's because in the
Relationships, rather.
90s it was so
All
titillating.
the rage.
Like, because nobody had really that much. To get porn, you had to like find it in a ditch. Really, you had to hunt. That's where I first saw my first magazine. It was in a ditch. And I was doing it for the Tidy Towns. I found a crowbar and a porn mag.
Good Lord.
So to see boobs in a film was very exciting.
Oh yeah.
But now, sure, Jesus, they have it on their phones. So they don't want to see it. They want to keep that separate.
Yeah, and you know what? I was watching...
Also as well, we were chatting with this, with my mates were saying, female friends were saying that when they were going to school, flashers, there was way more flashers in the 90s. And there was a lad who used to flash the school bus every single day.
Good
like he'd get up in the morning, he'd have his bit of breakfast, and oh my God, look at the time, and we get down to the school bus fast, and he'd run down with his big jacket on him, like come rain or shine, and he would flash the school bus, and like it wasn't even a thing that you'd like say to your parents, because it was just
It became that normalised.
It was so normalised. It was like I wouldn't even bother saying to the parents. Because your parents would just be like, ah, sure, he's harmless. But I was like, now that doesn't happen anymore because they're all online.
Yeah. Yeah, films like that aren't really as in right now.
Sexy films.
But I can't, like, I'm sorry, Kevin. I never got into it. I never will. And will they stop with the Marvel? How many Marvels do we need?
I tuned out a good while ago.
Good Lord.
I think Black Widow was probably the lowest point.
I don't even know that one.
It's the one you won from the other sex film, 50 Shades of Boyos.
Oh, Jennifer. No.
Dakota Fanning.
Dakota Fanning.
She starred in like Madam Web, where I think she was a photographer.
Dakota Johnson.
Fanning
is.
Oh, it's different.
Yeah.
Different Dakota. That's South Dakota.
Yeah.
She has the power of a spider or something.
Oh, okay.
It's essentially Spider Baby.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't even know what year that was.
Not that long ago.
They just.
What would be your superhero power if you had any power?
No,
you don't even have to use it. You don't have to go out doing good stuff. You just have it for like selfish reasons.
Well, I don't know. There's so many possibilities here and options. Mind reading would be great, but I think it'd ruin you mentally. Like, as in, knowing every thought everyone thinks of you. Crippled. I'll never leave the house again.
You'd hate that.
I think go back in time is the one I'd go for. Class. Yeah. I would absolutely love that. Good Lord, I would love to go back. And I think about this often of like, if you had the option to go back to school and do it differently, like, as in, for me, there's a core moment of I ended up developing an eating disorder. But if I didn't develop that, would I be the person I am? In the sense of that I became such a nerd. I was studying all the time after that. And I was so focused on so many things. I was not that way before any of that stuff happened to me. I was an average
So the trauma
child.
Kind of turned you into a better person.
I think, well, with eating disorders, there's like a controlling aspect. And I became and a perfectionism thing to it, that I became that way with my studies.
Wow.
Absolutely. Like, I was a bang average student before I ended up. And I'm not.
I mean, this sounds like we're
No,
doing a
I'm
great
not
ad
encouraging.
for-
I was just about to say, this is in no way encouraging at all, because I think of all the side effects of the horrific things having that eating disorder has caused me as well, that I'd love to go back so I don't have any of those stuff. But then I'm like, would I be that person at all had I not gone through it? It's a very interesting.
I'm thinking of a John Grant song I think it's called Glacier. This pain is like a glacier moving through you, carving out the valleys. This pain is like a glacier
we're singing it now.
moving
Great,
through
great.
you, carving out the valleys and creating fantastical landscapes.
And this is going to help me, is it?
Nourishing the ground with precious minerals and other stuff. And he's saying like pain is like a glacier that's incredibly damaging.
Yeah.
And it leaves lines in the ground, but it also brings nutrients that helps the ground as well.
Isn't it Leonard
it's a lovely,
Cohen?
lovely metaphor.
Leonard Cohen as well is like, through the cracks, that's how the light gets in.
Do the cracks.
Through the cracks, like get in. So you need that to kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really. I think about that way too often. Of like.
So I don't know if you want to get too deep into this, but what kind of eating disorder did you have? Were you like eating loads and then making yourself get sick?
No, I was anorexic, so I just
You weren't
full
eating
on
anything?
stopped eating entirely.
Wow.
Yeah, but I was a very overweight child, as you're aware from my stories. I went from 12 stone to 6.5 over 4 months. I honestly,
That's unreal.
But I was
4 months.
convinced. I was like, the reason I didn't make friends, it was the first year. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Like, as in, I went into first year and had always been overweight, and then was like, didn't make friends in first year, and I just was like, it's because I'm overweight, and if I wasn't, everyone would like me. And I was being bullied as well, and like the jokes were about me being fat, and I just thought, if I lose the weight, people will like me. And then when I came back after that summer, actually people were just horrified by me because I was terrifyingly thin. Like,
Oh my God.
so I was like, I can't win here.
Was your body breaking down? Like, were you
Like all my
fainting?
hair fell out after that.
Oh my
In
God.
recovery, I had to get cut like boy short.
Yeah.
And I collapsed in the school. I had to go. That was even during recovery back. I relapsed back.
So you're
in,
like 14 or 15.
It's 13. Yeah, 13, 14.
Wow. And how did the bullying stop? Or
Like, I think that was just shocked everyone
that
into
scare the
silence.
shit out of
yeah.
them?
Yeah. And then for all of second year, I was a weirdo, like in that recovery time, because I did not want to, you know, I'd been inpatient as a teenager then in St. Pat's in an eating disorder clinic over a period, and they were like instantly, like when September came back, they're like, you need to get back into school. And I was like, I don't feel ready for this. Like, I really should not have been going back. But they were really insistent that the routine of going back and in that was going to be beneficial, because if I had too much time to think, I just would be thinking.
And
all
did
over
therapy
again.
play much of a part in recovery?
The problem at that time, and again, this was that time when we're not really as educated as we are now with things, because my weight was so low, they didn't really have time to deal with the reasons behind why I stopped eating in the first place. I was just force-fed, essentially. That's what had to happen, which I actually think ended up causing more damage.
Right.
Definitely for me. And then I ended up in a cycle of feeling like, oh, people are happy now when I eat, but I did not feel able to eat, so I would then end up eating and getting sick then when I was recovering, which, was a horrible time as well.
That's traumatic. I'm astounded that you went into comedy and not like very serious books.
You know, but I think about that, because I'd always been making short films when I was a kid, like before and that stuff. And
I've seen your work.
You've seen my work, but
I've
I remember
seen your terrible recipe for banana bread or something.
And you can see there, I was enjoying the food.
That was definitely take 12.
The other level of cakes. Where did they go, Justine? Couldn't tell you.
Where's not one one?
But I do, I struggled hugely. I remember trying to force myself to get back into that after when I was trying to recover, and I couldn't think of anything funny. I couldn't do stuff, and I thought, did I kill a part of my brain that was the funny bit? And I really had to struggle through, and then it became a thing of like, no, I need to prove I still have that there. I didn't. Really
I'm astounded that you actually were able to make funny stuff, because when you're depressed, it's very hard to be funny.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Like, but I don't know. And again, then I was making short films. This was after that then, and my old primary school teacher had gotten in touch and was, I think, trying to help me get through things as well, and had like give me information for this short film festival in Ireland for young people, and that was kind of my goal or motive. Hey, I'll make something for this to submit it. But I remember going down to those festivals, and this was at a time when it wasn't cool to be making film in the way it is now, that everyone has a camera phone, everyone has access to that. This really had to be committed to the bit. Like, I had to buy a camcorder,
camera.
All that stuff. And even when I went to those things, I felt like, oh my God, these are my people. Like, and when I would go back to school, I'd feel like the outsider, because I had played GAA up until that point, and then I was taken off the team because they wouldn't let me exercise anymore because of how bad it was. So I wasn't allowed to do that stuff, and I felt like an outsider when I would be in my school. Yeah. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere then. I was the weird kind of kid for like 2 or 3 years, and wearing a waistcoat then
didn't help.
Afterwards didn't help. But I really struggled throughout that whole... It was only like in 6th year, and I really struggled with trying to get a good leaving cert. Like, I lost a lot of weight again, but I actually got the lead role in the musical, and I started to come out of my shell again and just really found my feet. And then I was like, I always think of that whole turbulent time of like, Jesus, would I go through it again, or would I want to go back? I don't know. I think I'd be an entirely different person. So
would you like to be inside your own body, or would you like, obviously not much room, but would you like to be inside your own body controlling yourself, or would you like to do a moon boy job where you're sort of advising little Justine? This sounds like a therapy exercise.
I'd like to be in my own body. Because I'll tell you this, Kevin, right now, when I had anorexia, it was me and anorexia against the world. Everyone was out to get me. I would not believe a word. Even if little Justine came to me and said, don't do this because this is all going to happen, I would not care.
Wouldn't have listened.
I did not care. Everyone was out to take it away from me. It's the most horrific, controlling mind thing I've ever experienced in my life. I cannot. And I've gone through horrible things since, and mental, very, very low periods. Nothing will ever compare to how controlling that thing was of you. And I can see why people struggle. You don't just suffer with eating disorder, your whole family does. And it's very frustrating when you are refusing help and you just think everyone is out against you. And I really, my heart breaks for people going through that, and families.
So this sounds like a really dumb question, but I'm curious about it. So with an eating disorder, you lose a load of weight, and you never get sort of like, oh, okay, I'm at my optimum weight now. No,
there's never. It's always another 3 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's total body dysmorphia.
You'll send that you'll start with that goal of like, I just need to get to this, but then you get to that and you're like, no, I just need to get to this. It never ends. And it's just cutting more, like doing insane things to lose weight, like restriction and like then my parents knew I was exercising, so I'd have to wake up at 3 a.m. to go out running at night.
Are you serious?
Yeah. You're like, you don't control it, like as in you have to do these, and it's like in your head, it's kind of linked, I think, to OCD in a way of like this control aspect of like, if you don't do these things, then you're going to gain the weight back. There's no like day off.
Wow.
Yeah.
So school was very traumatizing for you.
Yeah, hugely. Yeah. Which is insane of like, you know, I remember having therapists throughout all that who were always like, yeah, it's mad you're doing so well, like with like academic wise, yeah, because they're like,
it's probably a distraction.
I think, yeah, but it's a perfectionism thing that came with anorexia that was like, you have to be good at everything in your life.
Oh my
then
God.
it doesn't. So I do think, and there's different people have different views on anorexia specifically. I don't know if I'll ever be fully recovered. It became to a point that I was able to manage it and maintain it, and it's, you know, part of my everyday life, manageable. But I don't think there's so many things deeply ingrained in my brain, or like thinkings of foods or things that I can't do that are so deep rooted. I think I would spend a long time in therapy trying to get over that last hurdle. Whereas there's people I know that will say, yeah, it's a point now, I manage it. And there's people I know that are like, no, I'm fully recovered. I don't have those thoughts still in the back of my head. Which is then upsetting when stuff like the summer happens to me, and it really bothers me that I gain weight. And I know it shouldn't. And then I get frustrated at myself that it does bother me. Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh, why is this still an issue for me?
What are some practical things that would have helped you back then that other people could have done, or the government could have done, or the school could have done?
I think the biggest problem back then was there was such a taboo around mental health. This was before we'd openly talked.
Before Blind Boy and Brizzy.
Yeah.
Before they made it cool.
Every week, even when I was back in school, I was going to a dentist. Like, I could never say I was going to a therapist.
Right.
That would have been social suicide. Jesus. And our teeth look grand. You know, but it was genuinely like, and to a point, I remember a teacher maybe like, you're going to the dentist again? I was like, Jesus Christ. Like,
Read,
like,
take the hint.
Seriously?
Mrs. Monaghan. Fucking idiot.
I had a Mrs. Monaghan, wasn't her. But it was, I think, one of the biggest then additional pressures on top of it, because you couldn't talk to anyone about it.
I mean, you were like Tony Soprano. Yeah, if the word got out that you were seeing a shrink,
yeah,
you would have been kicked out of the mafia.
And I mean, I was already on, like, you know, the lower
the
ranks.
Peripherals,
So, I was just clinging to hold on. I was
were
like,
the waistcoat nerd crew.
Yeah, making short film. I was like, I was not. And imagine me now in that school making short film. I would be a cool kid.
You'd be a god.
They'd be like, oh my God, she won a
Do you know why? Because you'd have all the followers, and that's all they fucking care about now. You'd be the coolest kid in the school.
No, I mean, as in, like, making film now and short film is so cool.
Yeah,
like,
but it's cool now because you get recognition, you get followers.
I know what you mean.
There's numbers on your page that people are like, fucking some arsehole who was bullying you.
I
There's
know.
what 35 followers, 60 followers maybe.
I know, but it's not mad.
You'd be
Kevin,
wiping the floor with her.
when you're in school. Like, you look at those people like who were the hierarchy, the coolest kids going, and you're like, God, if only you could tell yourself that age, you'd be like, they might peak here though. You're only starting. Now, that's not always the case, but there is definitely a trend of people that were.
I was invited to talk at my old school. First of all, I think I was invited to talk at the national school. This is after Dance with the Stars, and the local community had done amazing for me for like voting and encourage everyone to vote.
I love that.
So one of the teachers asked me to come to talk to the national school and just answer questions, and I was like, yeah, of course. Went down there, and they're asking like adorable questions, and they were like, how long do you dance? And were you any good at dancing? You're just answering away. And then the teacher was like, do you want to go up to the secondary school and talk to them?
Oh no.
And I was like, grand. And I found it so traumatic because I immediately went back into, they're so cool and they don't fucking care.
Yeah.
They don't have any questions. They don't care about you. And then I just like slipped into this like old man advising them on like bullying and how like this, when you're a kid, secondary school seems like the world.
That's the thing. You don't know the world
You're
outside
here
of it.
eternally
Yeah.
in this small town. And then as soon as it's traumatic and you're like not fitting in or you're bullied or whatever, and then you leave and you find your tribe and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck was I so worried about? But I was just delivering this to blank faces, and they were just like...
That's the thing. It's so hard to talk to someone that
I was
age.
shaking coming out of it.
Because you truly believe they don't understand it. They don't get it. Like, they're looking at you saying that. And in the same way that I did at that time, you're like, no one understands this. And you don't, because anything that happens to you... I remember the first person I fancied and then they didn't fancy back. I was like, this is the end of the world. And it feels like, because this group of people that you're in a school with are the only people you know, and you think that is the extent of the world. Yeah. And I'm not saying that people necessarily peaked in high school, but like in your eyes, they're like, well, this is the greatest person that exists. Mm-hmm. And then you go to college, you're like, oh no, there's wonderful, hilarious people that I definitely get on better more with.
Would you ever do a school reunion?
Definitely. No, honestly, come 5th, 6th year, like people that bullied me, I would know and be friends. I wouldn't say friends, but like no bother I'd talk to them, because honestly, in first year, I think they just wanted to fit in as well in the same way I did. Yeah. They were just doing that to impress someone else. Yeah. And
they're also scared.
That's exactly it. I don't hold this like anger at all towards them, because I totally get what was going. Like, that's when I look back on it now, I'm like, they were just trying to fit in as well. Yeah. And that's, sadly, they did it in a pretty harsh way.
The easiest way to elevate yourself is by pushing somebody else down.
Yeah. You know, but I as an adult, absolutely have no ill feeling at all towards them, just because I'm like, wow, that's what was going on there. Now, it would be nice if it didn't detrimentally affect me as much.
Yeah, almost kill me.
Yeah, but like that aside,
lovely stuff.
My school had a sort of an anniversary thing.
We're doing that now in September. Yeah.
So I went down, and there was like all the past pupils and all the amazing stuff everyone was done. It was people who'd like academically done quite well, like. This one's a fancy doctor, and this one works for NASA.
Well, like my name is engraved in a big board. Like, student of the year. I was student of the year in Nobber.
Oh, you're student of the year.
Yeah, and I got in 5th year, which is rare. It's normally it was the 6th years that get it.
Oh, really?
But I think there was probably. I mean, I was the lead in the play in Greece, the musical. It was Rizzo, rather, with the two solo songs and that kind of crack. And I really, got really so involved back in school. Maybe there was an element of like, Jesus, that's when she come a long way from where she was.
Tell me this, how much fake tan did everyone wear for the Grease musical?
A fair bit. And it was my first time wearing makeup full stop in my life. Like, I was a very sheltered child. Yeah. So that was insane, because people just put makeup on me and I was like, I don't know who this person is and I don't like it. I look back at pictures now and it's hilarious. And I'm wearing the biggest chastity belt possible you could imagine. I'm like, this wasn't Rizzo.
Chastity belt?
like it's a big huge pink belt for the pink ladies, but like it looks like
a chastity belt. There wasn't spikes or anything.
No, we didn't go literal.
I went to my first school, the TYs were doing Grease. And so a lot of my old classmates were in the Grease, so I went back to watch it, and they wore a level of fake tan that I could only describe as problematic.
Okay, no, we didn't do that now.
It looked like a minstrel show. It was my friend Noel, who's ginger and very pale skin, looked like fucking Sammy Davis Jr. And it was, and at no point did anyone think like, let's rein it back.
No, we did not do that. The only problem we had was not one person could do the accent. So it's the novel rendition of Grease. It's like, well, Kaneki, how you know? Like, it's incredible. It's incredible. But the dance teacher came in to teach us. And
tell me more. Like, did he have a cow? Did you get very far?
No, it's incredible. I have like half of it videoed at home, and it is amazing. The accents are so wrong.
There was a song in it that I don't remember from the film, but it definitely is in the film. The Hand Jive.
Born to Hand Jive.
Born to Hand Jive Baby.
How do you not remember that from the film?
I hadn't seen it that much, but I remember there was a boy called Jim Bob, which is the best name in the world.
Ah, it's incredible.
A boy called Jim Bob, and it's from Granard.
JB.
And I remember everyone was up singing Born to Hand Jive Baby, and you know that beautiful gap of silence when a song ends and people applaud. There's a beautiful little gap, and everyone was doing the movements. And they were going, born to hand jive, baby. Born to hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, hand jive. And just in that exact moment, Jim Bob just went, hand job. And everyone, it was so perfectly placed. Like he knew the song off by heart and just dropped it at the exact moment of silence.
Was he mic'd?
No, he was in the audience.
Oh,
And it was just like the little gap between hand jive, hand job, and then everyone laughed over the applause. It was so good.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Oh Jesus, there was a moment we did a play there, the last insult, that show we did, but my mother was in the audience for one of them, and there's a line in the play where I say my mother's an alcoholic, and my mother from the audience just went, oh, just as though it was a reference to her. It was, and the whole crowd was like, why is that funny? That's just my mother thinking the implication of, though my literal mother is an alcoholic, she found this hilarious.
Why did Justine drop that real fact into this fictional play?
This is actually an intervention, ma'am. We've staged this whole play.
Did you ever go to pantos as a kid?
No. I was scared of them.
I always find pantos so weird.
Scare me. Still a little bit, I think. Could ask to do one this year, but I'm not going to be able to, really.
Because it's a weird thing where, like, they're for children, but a lot of the jokes are very innuendo-y.
Yes, yeah. It's like the Viking splash tour, I'll tell you that.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a lot of innuendos on that I didn't appreciate as a kid, and then I went back to as an adult. Just stuff like they scream at people on the street, and the leader, lad was like, oh God, I enjoyed that a lot more than she did. And then he goes, that's not the first time I've had to say that. I'm like, oh.
See, the problem there is he wrote that joke in 1994. And he's still doing the same material. All right, girls, you ready to get wet? Here we go.
Oh, God.
Let's go into the water. That's what I meant.
But, yeah, pantos are
Do you like me hat? Not the only horns I have on me. God, there's actually so many problematic jokes you can write about.
There's a lot you can do with Vikings. That. Good Lord. I'd love to have my funeral on it.
And you'd be buried at sea like Osama bin Laden.
No, your friend's father would be so upset.
Oh my God! Don't bring up the burial of Osama bin Laden.
Oh my God!
My friend's father would not be happy.
Not in the slightest. I would. I think it'd be a fun day out.
Fun day out for all, yeah. So how do you see this going down?
I don't know why you'd scream at people on the streets.
Are you dragging the coffin down the road, or is the coffin on the ship?
It's on the boat.
Okay, it's on the boat ship.
Yeah,
and
you have to put the horns on top of the coffin as well, just for hilarity reasons.
Like instead of they have like a GA jersey over the coffin for a footballer. Just put a little Viking splash helmet.
Yeah, and the lifeguard jacket would be funny on top of the coffin too.
That'd be nice. So where are you buried?
Well, suppose you'd leave me out on the sea, would you? No.
Would you go for a pyre?
What's that now?
That's like a sort of a Viking burial
where they
set fire to you on the water.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like that idea. I think it looks nice.
Yeah,
I'd like it to be.
Smell?
Well, I'd like the idea for my
away.
friends. If you get the priest to shoot a flaming arrow from the shore, I think that would be amazing.
That would be glad. Obviously, I want to play There She Goes.
There she goes. Or Stop the World and Let Me Off. Down.
Sorry, can you imagine that in a church?
My dreams are shattered, don't you see?
That you no longer care for me. That would be... I would put good money on it, Kevin, that someone down the country has played that at their funeral.
Oh, easy. It's one my dad has said. He's like...
He wants...
Because I asked him several times... what songs do you want? And he is kind of joking.
How often are you asking him this, Kevin?
Just every time I'm really trying to nail down this will. We'll start with the song and then let's go through the assets. Did you see Simon Harris doing a funny little dance?
I saw that, yeah.
It's a bizarre, like politicians dancing is never a great, they can't nail it.
But they have to know that. That's the thing that gets me.
They get into politics because they can't dance.
But see, Simon now is trying to get on the TikToks and the Snapchats. He thinks he's going to be
he's
down
the TikTok
with the kids.
president, yeah. He looked like he was trying to jumpstart an old woman. Like, while simultaneously swooping like Lego under a bed. It was a really aggressive forward back while like sweeping the legs. You know, like when you're trying to like half tidy up your toys and you just like fucking stuff under the couch. Or he was trying to knock the woman off a boat. It was like, and the poor woman.
Ah, yeah. No, she should sue.
She'll
She'll get
sue.
a pretty penny now.
Yeah, there'll be a tribute.
Yeah,
There'll be an
her
inquiry
bike
into that.
rack.
Have you ever danced with an Irish politician against your will? I won't fill out this anonymous questionnaire.
But like, they have to know that that's going to end up going everywhere online.
I mean, if you're gonna, do you know what? Leo would have took lessons before he'd
Yeah.
go into that. Leo's cute enough.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
He would have took jiving lessons.
Yeah.
He would have went to a Declan Nairney gig and just danced. Got the bad dances out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to dance with a country woman on camera for the first time ever. You're mental.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't even do it.
No. And the thing about country women, they lead you.
They lead you.
Women of a certain age, you just
Yeah.
have to hold their hands and they will steer the boat.
They take it by the wheel.
She could have spun herself around. You do nothing like.
No, it's terrifying. I remember ending up in a jiving scenario, and I was like, honestly, you know, when you don't know how to do it, it's scary. But then also, they don't want to hear tell you. They're like, you can't jive. Get out of here. Like, it's so serious.
I
to
was
them.
taught jiving. I fancied a girl from national school, and I was 32 at the time. You know, I fancied a girl in national school, and her mother taught me how to jive when I was about 12. And it stood to me, Justine.
Jesus.
It stood to me. It was like learning how to drive or something.
Yeah, one of those core skills to have.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
lock that in the brain.
Oh yeah.
It's-
Sure, probably came in. Did you ever do a jive on the Dance with the Stars?
Yeah, but it's nothing like
Yeah.
Irish country jiving. Like Irish country jiving is very aggressive,
It is, yeah.
and you're moving like a machine. Really,
I suppose it's all in the
there's
olden
no smoothness
days.
to it. Like
It's like it was kind of their therapy, I suppose. All the aggression was let out in this dance. We
Yeah.
can't have unholy thoughts.
No.
So we're going to just
I'm gonna
let
drive
them
the
on.
fuck out of your one.
The twirl I'm going to give her.
I'm gonna leave her fucking Schwarten.
That's really where it went. The
Yeah.
erection section. That's, that
The
was a
erection
famous
section.
description of, the slow dance songs. Won't be the
I
jive
remember-
necessarily, but
But you talk about like, oh, my mother never drank, and we look at our parents. Well, we look at our grandparents as quite innocent.
well, they were all pioneers. Every single one of my grandparents was a pioneer.
Oh,
on both
really?
sides. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're probably into class A's or something.
Yeah. Obviously.
Just purely do just the old bag. I'm off the points, just on the bag. I'm gonna watch Dana.
Just go, bingo. My God. Oh my God.
But I remember talking to my granddad, I think it was, and he didn't drink. He played cards. I don't think he drank. But I was chatting to him about like, the dance halls in the old days, and the men on one side and the women on the other. And he said, well, it wasn't exactly like that. What had happened is the women would head up around 7 o'clock to the hall, and they'd be drinking tea or maybe a bottle of pop. And the men would go to the
I
pub.
love that so much. A bottle of pop.
Bottle
Oh
of
my
pop.
God.
They'd have a bottle of pop there and maybe a bag of crisps. And the men would go to the pub. This would be after Mass on a Saturday
Oh,
night.
yes.
And the men would go to the pub then about 8 o'clock, and they'd stay there until closing time, and then they'd wander on up to the hall, and then sure you'd just grab the nearest woman. And I was like, whoa, hold on a fucking second here. So the women are hanging out in the hall from 8 o'clock till about till
late.
12, to maybe 11:30, and the lads
Pile
arrive
in.
up rotten drunk, and he said, it was wild enough. Like, at that stage, you'd be like a herd of bullocks, and you'd be running.
God.
You'd be running to get a good-looking woman, and it just sounded like an incredibly violent, drunken outburst.
God.
So I don't think they're as innocent as they like to let us
God, I
believe.
want that depicted in a film. That's
Yeah.
the coming of age American films. I want that Irish version
Because
there.
there was one
time
called like
ago.
Jimmy's Hall,
Yeah.
and I think it was very, it was played very nice. It's how they like to think of themselves, but it was actually just a load of drunk lads running at women.
I love to picture all the women having tea, and just as you can hear them coming,
Oh, fuck.
like the cups are shaking on the table. They look over like a ham sandwich falls over, vibrating off.
Brace yourselves. Imelda,
Right, ladies.
Imelda, get the door. Here they come. Oh my lord.
That is what I'm picturing, and I adore it. Oh my God. Good Lord.
This went all over the place.
This was great. What a journey of laughs and serious
And
talk.
very serious talk.
We can cover it all.
Oh yes. Are you
We
listening?
are.
World of Entertainment.
Still looking for that winning streak, Luke. We think we can do it.
I think what winning streak needs is just a 10-minute discussion and blame me in the middle of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Justine, this is lovely as always.
As ever.
We'll see you again next week.
And you too, Kevin.
And you listening at home, doing the laundry, driving the car, sitting on the bus. We'll see you again next week also.
Go on, be good.
Mind yourself.
This show is part of the HeadStuff Podcast Network, a hub for the creative and the curious. Shows are produced in association with HeadStuff and the Podcast Studios Dublin. Find out more or become a member at headstuffpodcasts.com.